Wendy Logue. So thank you for whoever is recording that. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is your second wave of professional learning. Your first wave, you had Make Way for Books, which started in January, and I know that you are still working on that. You are still working with the coaches and getting that amazing PD from them. We are just planning ahead to start in August. We want to make sure that you are set to go in August. This wave of professional learning will wrap up before March, so you will be set to begin your third wave, which is high scope. So this wave of professional learning is you will be getting trained in the science of reading, with LETRS for early childhood educators. LETRS stands for Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling, and it is ongoing professional learning. We have here with us today Kelly Storbo, who is from Lexia Learning, and she is going to talk a little bit about the rollout and how the professional learning will work at your site. I am going to stop sharing and let Kelly share when she is ready.
All right, so just give me a second to get my screens all situated here. Okay, so thank you, Wendy, for introducing me. As Wendy said, my name is Kelly Storbo, and I am the LETRS State Success Manager for Lexia for the West region, which means that I work with a number of states in the Western United States as they roll out and offer the LETRS training to teachers within their state. And so Arizona is one of my states, which I love that I get to work with Arizona. I actually live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and that's where I am from originally. But just kind of a fun fact about me, I actually started my teaching career in Arizona. So Arizona definitely has a piece of my heart, and someday my husband and I hope to be one of those snowbirds that I know you guys all love so much. But with that said, let's talk a little bit about LETRS for early childhood educators, which is what you guys will be participating in. And so we just want to give you a little bit of background on what is so important about this, why this opportunity. And really the bottom line is that early literacy matters. We know that early literacy has profound and far-reaching effects for our students. There's strong agreement among preschool educators that all children deserve quality learning experiences that are sensitive to their social and emotional needs and that stimulate language, cognitive, and physical development. The early childhood years are critical for building the foundation of future success. And the role you play in developing early literacy skills in your students will make a profound impact on their school years and in life. And so that's what this opportunity is really about, is getting our youngest learners off to a great start. So as we're going to focus today on the early childhood portion of LETRS, but we want to give you some background in some of the theoretical knowledge that all of the LETRS offerings rely upon. And so the first is what is called the simple view of reading. And this is just a well-validated concept that lies at the heart of understanding reading instruction. This was created by Goff and Tummer in 1986. And it serves as a broad reference to the complexity of reading. So according to this model, competent reading is dependent on, or a product of, you'll notice that multiplication sign, it's a product of our ability to decode words, that's that word recognition part of it, and our ability to understand what language what making meaning of what we read and what we hear and our language comprehension. And so we've got those two parts that when we put those together, they can equal reading comprehension. And we do this as a multiplication problem because you can't have one without the other. It is critical that both domains have skill with them, and instruction in both domains is really non-negotiable. Now you might be saying to yourself, but I'm a pre-K teacher. That's okay. The development, and I'm sure you guys know this, the development of each of these sides of the simple view of reading really starts in the preschool years. And that's really what we want to do, is set up you guys as their instructors and our students for success, not just in preschool, but beyond, okay? Adding to that, one of the other theoretical models that all of LETRS is built upon is Scarborough's reading rope. And this reading rope was developed by Dr. Hollis Scarborough. And she used the metaphor of a rope with its many strands to explain the complexity of reading to parents and educators. And what I want you to really notice is that we've got those two parts that we just saw on the slide before, that word recognition and that language comprehension. But each of those parts have now been broken down into those smaller skill areas that we know make up those larger domains. And so that's what's really important, is even though we say simple view of reading, we know it's really not simple. There's a lot that goes into each of those domains. So each of these finite skills have to be developed. If you look at the bottom where we have the word recognition strand, you'll see several of those skills. And what's really important to know is that these are things that we want to be developed by third grade. We know that doesn't always happen, but that's the goal. And again, some of these skills, or actually almost all of them, start with our work in pre-K. On the other side, we have the language comprehension strands, and you'll see all of those different individual skills there as well. And what's really important to note about these skills is that these skills start to develop right away at birth. You all know your students come to you already with lots of language skill. And we continue to develop these skills throughout our lives. We never stop acquiring vocabulary or acquiring background knowledge. But again, we want to do everything that we can to set up our youngest learners for success. So the early stages in development of these crucial skills is what you will focus on in this early childhood LETRS course. So now that you've got kind of a little bit of a background of kind of the theory and the science behind what this course is about, let's talk specifically about LETRS for early childhood. You should know that this course was designed specifically for preschool teachers. Every concept and skill in the LETRS for early childhood is based on scientific research, guiding our understanding of how young children learn, and effective ways to teach them that are engaging, effective, and developmentally appropriate. It's about playful learning and planful play. So Wendy already shared with you what the LETRS acronym stands for: Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling. This course is authored by Dr. Lucy Hart Paulson. She's a recognized authority in early childhood education, and she collaborated with Dr. Louisa Moats, who you may have heard of. She's also, Dr. Moats is one of our LETRS authors for the larger LETRS course. You may be familiar with her work. One of the ones that I know lots of teachers are familiar with is the one entitled Teaching Really Is Rocket Science. So both of these amazing ladies have developed this course specifically for, again, our preschool teachers. It's a professional learning journey to deepen your own expertise and understanding to help young children to develop the early literacy and language skills needed in preschool and into kindergarten. The more children know about language and literacy before they begin kindergarten and first grade, the better equipped they are to succeed in reading and beyond. LETRS for Early Childhood is not a curriculum that teaches students how to read. I'm going to say that again. It's not a curriculum that teaches students how to read. Rather, the content describes the research and translates the findings into everyday routines and effective practices for early childhood classrooms. LETRS is an investment in you. So let's learn a little bit more. LETRS includes 4 essential elements for literacy success. The first is it teaches the complex cognitive science of how a child acquires learning or acquires literacy. That is that science of reading. It helps teachers translate that research into classroom practice. And it enhances your effectiveness, which then transforms instruction that results in improved student outcomes. We have an entire LETRS suite that we offer, and I'm happy and proud to say that Arizona is offering all of these opportunities to educators across the state of Arizona. But again, we're focused today on the LETRS for Early Childhood Educators, which is recommended for folks like you who have multi-age preschool, pre-K, and kindergarten students. It provides deep literacy knowledge for those working with our youngest learners. The early childhood years are critical in building the foundations young students need for success in school and life. And let's see, so let's watch a video real quick. This is just a real quick video where you will get to know our LETRS for Early Childhood author, Dr. Lucy Paulson.
Hi, I'm Lucy Hart Paulson, and along with Dr. Louisa Moats, we are the authors of LETRS for Early Childhood Educators. We are honored to welcome you to this LETRS professional development designed especially for preschool teachers. As you well know, the early childhood years are so important in building the foundational skills young children need for school and life success. Attending to a substantial and growing body of empirical research guiding curriculum, assessment, and instruction is important for providing the right kinds of supports for young children in educational settings. LETRS for Early Childhood Educators is not a curriculum that teaches early literacy, but rather the content describes the research and translates the findings into everyday routines and effective practices for early childhood classrooms. You are about to embark on a journey deepening your own expertise and understanding of the essentials involved in helping young children develop the early literacy and language skills needed in preschool for later academic success.
All right. So just a little bit more background for you. LETRS for Early Childhood aligns with the recommendations of the National Early Literacy Panel on developing early literacy. Every concept and skill in LETRS for Early Childhood is based on scientific research, guiding our understanding of how young children learn and effective ways to teach them that are engaging, effective, and developmentally appropriate. You'll notice that we're highlighting all of the areas, the essential areas of literacy, including writing, spelling, and oral language. Now, obviously, for those early childhood students that we have, not all of these things will be deeply covered in the early childhood. You'll focus your attention on some of those early skills. And in just a moment, we'll look a little bit closer at what are the concepts that are covered in this training. So let's talk about about what this looks like. So as a participant in the Letters for Early Childhood, here's what's going to happen. You will learn through a blended model approach. There's multiple ways to engage with the content. This is an intentional design for the LETRS course of study so that it includes the repetition of complex concepts through reading, through our online platform, and through our professional learning sessions. This model affords the learner, you, the opportunity to engage over time with the research to make meaning and apply the learning to your work. So you will receive a print manual, and that manual is used in tandem with that online course of study, as well as during the live training sessions, which is another part of the training. You will have the opportunity to participate with live online, not face-to-face, I guess face-to-face through the computer, but live online training sessions specific to each unit in the course with one of our national LETRS facilitators. This will allow you to participate in a community to deepen your understanding of the information from the online and print materials. And it will allow you to take a deep dive into the LETRS content and ask questions of those literacy experts, those national trainers. One thing to note is we strongly recommend that participants complete the online asynchronous work, which you'll learn about here in just a moment, in the LETRS platform prior to attending the live sessions. And so there's a little bit of pacing suggestion that we'll give you as we move forward in your LETRS journey. So don't feel like if you're scratching your head and wondering, this isn't quite making sense, don't worry. You'll get more information, but I'm just trying to kind of front load some information just to have kind of in the back of your mind as you move forward here with these next steps. So the live training sessions that I spoke about, we have two options, but just so you know, you can kind of ignore the left side of the screen and focus your attention on the right-hand side, because that is what Arizona has chosen. They've chosen to do 3-hour sessions, and what is required is 4 of those 3-hour sessions. You can see how it's broken down. Part 1, you'll be covering, well, I should say part 1 and part 2, you'll notice you'll be covering units 1 and 2. And then it says part 1 and 2 again, it should say part 3 and part 4, you'll cover units 3 and 4. Again, don't panic if you're thinking, this is a little confusing. It will make sense, I promise you, as we keep going forward. But I just wanted, again, to give you kind of a picture of how this works out. So those 4 3-hour sessions will be offered over several months worth of time. And we'll look at a schedule here coming up just to give you an idea of what that'll look like. But just know that's not happening 4 weeks in a row or something like that. Those 4 sessions that you'll attend will happen over the course of several months. So let's take a closer look at the content of each unit. So I mentioned that there are 4 units. You can see the titles on this slide of each of the units. Okay, so unit 1 is all about the early literacy foundations. Unit 2, oral language connections. Unit 3, phonological foundations. And unit 4, print knowledge, ABC to XYZ. We'll take a closer look at those here in just a moment. But just kind of to put this, try to help you understand how this is all put together. Remember, you've got several different things happening. You've got access to our online asynchronous LETRS platform. And within the platform, you'll log in and you'll do unit 1, which has 2 sessions, 1 and 2. This is all asynchronous work. And you'll log in and you'll do unit 2, which has 3 sessions, sessions 3 through 6. While you're doing that, or as you're doing that, you'll be getting ready to attend those first training sessions, okay? And so the first training sessions, the first 2, will cover units 1 and units 2, okay? You'll do those maybe in August and September, and then you'll have some time again in between to work in the online platform on units 3 and unit 4, and then you'll attend the second pair of sessions, that part 3 and part 4, a month or 2 later after that. So that's kind of how you work it. You do some online work, then you attend a couple of sessions, then you do some online work, and then you attend 2 more sessions. And that's the end of this, this course of study. So it really does only take several months worth of time. So thinking about each of those units, here's just a little bit more. I'm not going to read each of these bullet points for you, but just gives you a little bit more of an idea of what each unit is about. Unit 1 really serves as that kind of base for everything that you're going to learn. You're going to learn about the research and the policy and the standards that inform early childhood education, okay? One thing to note, and I said this earlier, but this is always an important thing to highlight, is you should know that this is not about learning to read in preschool. It's about building the important foundations needed for a smooth transition into early reading and writing in the primary grades. So we're just setting them up for success. That's what we want to do for our students. Unit 2, you can see, is all about oral language, just making sure that we understand the structures and the stages of development and how to link those to assessment procedures. All along the way and throughout this LETRS journey, in addition to learning the content and the information, you will learn techniques and routines and procedures that you can actually put into your classroom and use with students. Unit 3 is all about the developmental sequences of phonological awareness, understanding the linguistic hierarchy, and exploring strategies and routines for developing the skills. And then finally, Unit 4, it addresses the essential components of print awareness. So understanding the development of alphabetic learning and its relationship to instruction, okay? So that kind of gives you a background of what the content and a little bit of understanding of what the structure of this training looks like. So as we finish up here, let's just kind of, I'm going to go back through each of those different parts of the LETRS training, the different components, and just give you a little bit more information about what this experience will look and feel like. So I already mentioned that as a participant, you will get a manual. And so this is a picture of the manual. I know I'm probably small on your screen right now, but this is the actual manual. It's a small spiral bound book that you'll use. Think of it as your textbook. And it follows along the content in the manual, follows right along with the content in that live, or that, not the live, but the LETRS online platform. This is where you'll do that asynchronous work. And so all participants will be assigned a license to this platform at least a month prior to their first live training session, because remember we said we want you to get in and do this work asynchronously first and then attend those live sessions. So you'll receive your login information for the live or for the learning platform about a month or so before your first training session, so that you can start to do that asynchronous work. Now you might be wondering what's included in that platform. It's delivered dynamically through a variety of methods. There's videos, you get to click and reveal things. There's slideshows, there's activities like word sorts and matching and drag and drop. All of these activities to make sure that you get the experience and the exposure to the content that's needed. Embedded within that online work is what we call bridge to practice activities. And these activities are what helps you take what you're learning into your classroom. So it gives you an activity at the end of each unit, or several activities at the end of the units, to then practice in your classroom some of the things that you've been learning. And so that's really helping you to take what you've learned and put it into practice. You get all the materials you need for that. There's downloadable tools, directions, but that's really what makes the learning come into life, is taking this knowledge and putting it to practice in your classrooms. So we have the manual, we have the online asynchronous work, which includes those bridge to practice activities. And then finally, we have those live learning sessions. Now, before I go to the next slide, I just want to warn you, you don't need to write this down. I just wanted to give you a glance at what the schedule will be offered, okay? You'll get more information about this, but what you should know is that for your participants, they will have 5 different date options for each of those 4 sessions, those 4 live training sessions that we talked about. And you can see that there's different options, some evening time options, some Saturday morning options, and then some during the day options. Once we know who from your site is participating, and we've got them rostered, and we have sent them a manual and all of those things that we've talked about, they will receive information on how to register for these different dates, and they'll be able to choose what works best for them. So they might choose, they know from the very beginning that Thursday evenings are the best option for them, and they can choose to register for each one of those 4 Thursday options if that's what they want, and just stay consistent with that same day and time. Or maybe they need to have a little bit more flexibility. So they might choose the Friday afternoon session for part 1, and then maybe Saturday morning works better for them for part 2. And then maybe the Thursday evening one works best for part 3. And finally, maybe they go back and use a Saturday morning. So they'll be able to pick and choose. Now, some of you might have times built into your calendars, and we tried to work that information into this. So if you have 4 or 5 people, and that you have Wednesday mornings available for PD, they can choose the Wednesday morning options for all of those and get those live trainings, attend those live trainings during that available time in your schedules. Now, like I said, please don't feel like you have to write this down or you have to make any decisions right now. I just wanted to give you a view and a little bit of understanding of how people will work their way through each of those 4 sessions. I think that's the important thing to remember, is that in order to complete the training, they will choose one date from each of these columns, okay? One date for part 1, one date for part 2, and so on and so forth. So there'll be 4 3-hour live sessions. And then remember, in between those times, they're logging into that LETRS platform and doing that asynchronous work all throughout these dates. You can see, depending on the dates that you choose, but generally, everybody will start their training either in August or September and be done either in October, November, or the very beginning of December. So at the most, you will engage in this between August and December. Might be a little shorter depending on which live training dates you choose. Finally, as they work their way through the live or the learning platform, my goodness, I keep doing that. As they work their way through the learning platform, just know that there are what we call checks for understanding all throughout. It just affirms that you've gotten the content. You get multiple chances to take those quizzes. At the end of each unit, there's a quiz. And then finally, you can earn a certificate at the end of the entire course. Just know that that nobody is saying from ADE or from our end that you have to achieve a certain score. It will give you a score and you can see all of your scores, but there isn't a required minimum score for completion of the LETRS training. Okay. And then finally, just kind of a heads up, you'll hear more about this, I'm sure, as well, but we do have what we call the LETRS Help Center. And you can see that, that website along the bottom of this slide. This is a great resource for any questions that you might have. So if you are going to be the person who goes back to your site and is telling your staff about this opportunity, you might want to keep this LETRS Help Center in mind. That is a place where you can go to get lots of answers. But of course, you can always reach out to both Wendy and I with any questions that you have. And so with that, I just want to say thank you. And we are so excited to get you guys started and to work with you on your LETRS journey. And I know that I will be in touch and have more information for you all as we move forward. All right, I'm going to stop.
Thank you, Kelly. So now that we know a little bit about the professional learning that is coming our way, I want to tell you the next steps on my end. I will next week send you out a recap of this along with the recording of this session. And I will also send you 2 forms that I will need you to fill out. I will need you the point of contact, whether it's the director or the coach or whoever is going to be the point of contact for this professional learning. I'm going to need you to fill out a shipping form. It's very simple. The directions are right there, and then it will automatically come back to me when you fill it out. The next form is a participant form. I will need you to have each participant fill out the form individually, and then it will automatically come back to me. And then this way, we have the participant roster, and Kelly will be able to get each of your participants a login into the online platform. Once we get all of that, you will then receive an email from Kelly telling you all how to sign up for those virtual sessions. It's very simple, and she'll send you step-by-step instructions for that. Now, I know some of you will say, there's not a professional learning time. We don't have a professional learning time during any of those sessions. Please remember that you do have HQEL funds to pay your teachers if they need to take an evening session or a Saturday morning session. We worked really hard to try to put those sessions in during your professional learning time, but we have 15 sites and we only had a certain number of timeframes that we could put in there. Okay, now we're going to open this up to some questions. Throughout this whole process, as Kelly said, we'll both be here to answer any questions, but if you think of any questions right now, please feel free to type them in the chat or unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, Wendy. I have a question.
Yes.
So some of the staff members have limited English. Will there be support for them? Is there like a bilingual support for them, or?
Unfortunately, there is not a bilingual support. On the online platform, they could possibly do the translate button. I am not sure. Kelly, do you have any other suggestions for that?
Yeah, I need to double check. I know we have had that conversation before, and I know there was some work being done. One thing to note is remember I said that each participant will be getting a participant manual, a hard copy, but they also can access that manual electronically through the online platform. And I think there might be a way to also translate that, but I need to double check on that because I know several months ago they hadn't figured that out, but it seems like I remember maybe that there was something changing about that. So let me jot that down and I can get back to Wendy about that and she can get that information to you.
That is a great question. And I'm sorry that we don't have an answer right now for you.
Okay. And then my second question is, that you guys have scheduled days for modules. Let's say I have mine planned for my PD on Wednesday, but we have a staff member that called in sick. Is there a way for that staff member to like make it up?
Yes, they will be able to make it up because we know life happens and somebody can't go to every single session, and we will work with you. I'm not sure with the new platform, Kelly, how it's going to work if they just change it themselves. We're actually rolling out a new platform where the participants will be able to do this by themselves, and they can just go into the platform and say, oh, I need to switch my session. Prior to this, you would email me and then I would email Kelly and then we would email back and forth. But now you'll be able to do it on your own. If somebody's sick and they can't make it, they can go into the SWOGO platform and say, oh, I need to change my live session. I'm going to change it from the Friday one into the Saturday one. So there will be options.
Okay. Thank you. Those were my
You're welcome. What other questions? Let me look in the chat. Thank you, Kelly, for putting your email in there. All right, so if we don't have any questions now, we are going to wrap up. Please expect you will receive an email from me next week with this recording from this session, along with the 2 forms and directions to move forward. Nothing else you'll need to do this summer. You will get your materials shipped to you so that you will be able to begin in August. And then we will go from there. Thank you so much for coming, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, because we're really here to support you with anything you need in this training. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.